Hello, this is me just doing a short little video about Magick and developing the senses of taste and smell. And as I live in Northern Europe, that's where I bring out my knowing of the forest from. So practice safely and learn your local area and country. When the soil in the forest is high in nutrition, all the berries, leaves, fruits, plants and herbs taste bitter. But when they taste bitter, there is also a warning here. Medicinal herbs and plants contain more toxins since the soil is more nutritional. So the bitterness can give you a sense of that it is more potent. And then there's always the difference. Sometimes a root is toxic and sometimes it's the stem, leaves, flower. And in many times nothing else but the bark is toxic. And sap. So always make your research before you taste or anything. Bring your field guide book with you and memorize all the toxic herbs especially, so that you never taste or pick them or touch them by accident. And after a while you should know your local area better than your fridge at home. And what I used to do, what the shaman taught me, was that you choose slowly on the chosen herb and plant. And then I search out the same species of the herb and plant or tree with a few kilometers distance apart. And you quite quickly develop the sense of taste, that you can taste difference in the bitterness of the area. And that comes. And the sense memory develops constantly within our brain. And then you can create a mind map over the area and take notes. And you can also use chemicals. There are something like testing strips that you can buy from the chemist or pharmacy, and you just use scissors and water, and then you put a little stick into the jar of water and it measures up the nutritions. And then there is also that the color changes with nutrition, as well as the color indicates which vitamins and so forth are in the berries. Like you can see which are high in C vitamin and A vitamin and so forth. And then you can take sap or resin from trees, and you mortar it and blend it with water. And you can taste them if you know that you don't have allergies. Like example, maple, birch and pine. And then you can also see which trees has the deer chewed on. They like the sweet taste of some trees, so if you get deer bites, deer tooth marks on a tree, then you know that it is sweet smelling. Moose, or do you call it elk, they taste bitter as sugar, so they have that enzyme in their tongue that creates that they don't taste bitterness. And here is a historical fact that I thought was quite funny that I found during my years in history. There have been times when myrrh and frankincense that is used especially for Christ and Michael. And it has been given to cattle and horses when they or had a suspicion of spirits at work or possessing the animal, so that they had to drink this to get rid of the possession. And I have only read about the rumors that this has been practiced in the northeastern area of Europe. Finland was the strange country, since it was the country where the Catholic and the Orthodox Church fought the war. And then the Lutherans and Protestants came, but so there's been always this fight between those two in Finland. They met there, if you say it like that, and crashed. And I've heard these rumors, and some's been written down in both Eastern Catholic and Orthodox old stories only. I can't confirm it. You need to have a really good connection to get to read those books. And the bitter taste of pine and rowan berries has often in history been blended into a food or alcohol, so that you can create a horrible taste. And it was an old cure to lose weight or developing a distaste to alcohol, etc. And in the military and church, this was especially pine needles were used like a cure for all dependencies, whatever it was, since it can taste for 4 days afterwards. And the brain remembers all foul-tasting things, and you can use this in your advantage while foraging. And then I put this warning about parsley seeds. Don't ever eat those, they are deadly. There's been an incident with a young girl that I read about. And here comes the sense of smell. Memorize the smell of raw ingredients prior to cooking and compare after you cook them. Does the fragrance remind you of the taste? Is there a strong difference while burning or cooking a leaf, fruit, root or stem? You learn the differences after focusing on smelling. How does the smell differ when you cook or burn bones, make bone broth, etc., or carve bones? Some plants have an alluring fragrance to draw in prey, and vice versa to repel. And what memories and feelings do you associate with a particular smell? Like tobacco for me is grandfather, freshly baked bread is like home, and newly cut grass is like summer. And practice incense recognition if it is non-toxic, and compare to taste or inhale quickly sniff. And remember that acacia tree bark and nutmeg and potato and tomato leaves and stems are poisonous. Don't ever inhale like henbane. And create your own culinary herb mixes. Try it out in the kitchen. Mix and taste and smell. And don't use fresh chili fruit as a quick incense. I threw it on a charcoal. I did that, and it was a horrible experience. The old priest laughed and said that this was a great exorcism of everything around the whole place. Practice to sniff and associate the fragrant essential oils and incense. And map out your own planetary, astrological, magical, spiritual, or lunar, solar, and elemental Sometimes they match and sometimes they don't, but I found that in Germany a tree didn't feel the same as one tree in Finland, so sometimes you have to go with that as well, that the area might change. And then you can experiment with musical keynotes in music and combine those with fragrances to develop even more senses. Make your own incenses using peels, berries, dried fruit, etc. And the new smell is quite different from bought old incense. And be creative and analytical. Take a whiff as the ice hockey players do, emptying your senses and thoughts. I think they sniff on ammonia in Russia at least. And perfume fragrances. Do you like the chemical or completely natural fragrances? Can you smell the antibacterial smell of cinnamon and ginger and locate it in your brain so you can find antibacterial smells in other plants? And then the smell of vinegar, sour milk, what does it remind you of? And how does incense and essential oil smell different? Like a rose. Does rose petals smell like oil when you burn them on charcoal? And blindfold and hold your nose and smell the difference as you can practice this in many ways. Usually when you can't see, your smell gets higher and you can try different ways there. And think of the terms, it smells like death, old age, hospital or home. And record your feelings and memories, and after a while you have a great magical map of your own creation that you then can compare to the books and the references and have a magical day. Bye for now.